And this is not a Pechacucha, but I sort of did it a little bit like Pechacucha. So when I start, it will work on. So yeah. Yeah, I'm Betina Ringby, and I'm from the physiotherapy department of the University College of Northern Denmark. And I talked about this whole project yesterday. What we would like to share with you, and my colleague Vibeke is there, she was also on the project, and we would like to share this toolbox, not so much a physical toolbox, but what we did in a 4-week international elective course for physiotherapists, students who had chosen to participate in a course on global entrepreneurship. So the background was to try to challenge the statement that it's a problem to include intra and entrepreneurial sightseeing in teaching applied sciences. So we tried to create this toolbox to support a new set of sites to explore how we could actually do this. So this course overall aimed to make physiotherapy students contribute to global health and to develop entrepreneurial physiotherapeutic skills within an international setting. To make it more challenging for them to see new ways than they can do at home. So we use the progression model as a basic framework for all our tools. And so the purpose was to create a toolbox that could challenge them individually and in groups and focus their pre-understanding in new ways to make issues of cultural awareness and importance, and to make students take that into consideration regarding health solutions and decisions, and link these directly to physiotherapy. And maybe our students, metaphorically, was a bit hesitating or parked like these bikes were when we started out the course, but as we went along, they really got on the move, and it was a big pleasure to follow all these students getting new insights along the way. So the methods we used created 7 tasks that were presented to the students in these 4 weeks, and they were built on top of each other as they got more confidence, so they built on top of one another. And each task, they were asked to blog about their reflections on each task, and Vibeke had a presentation on the blogging yesterday. So that really proved to be a very useful tool for students to actually use these tasks for more than just a thing to do, but they could actually document and go back, and they could share this blog with their family and friends. So they also got an understanding of what they were actually doing out there. So one task was to make a Skype call with a Portuguese physiotherapist. And we did this because our students were very hesitating in speaking English. A lot of our Danish students said, we don't want to go on this course because we don't have the vocabulary in English to talk about our profession. And we can't just call someone out there. What are we going to do? And we say, well, that's your challenge. So some of them found actually, couch surfing. Yeah, and actually there was a physio couch surfing site. So some students went in there and got a hold of some physiotherapy students and physiotherapists from Porto. And that's exactly what they wanted to do in this. This is about sharing different views, talking about healthcare in Denmark and in Portugal, and how is it to be a healthcare student in each country. And some of them were really scared, so we did do an inspirational interview guide that they could actually start on. And some of them said we talked for like 2 hours, and then the guide was, we didn't need it, but it was very helpful to have. Another task we wanted students to do was in the first week, trying to start talking about all this in English, was we wanted them to design a workshop for some international healthcare students that we had. And they had a little amount of time, and then they had to design, to plan, and to deal with all the practical issues of doing a workshop on creativity for healthcare students. They were really challenged because it was hard for them to work together, to decide who's going to take the lead. Somebody said, I don't want to be in front of these people. I can't speak English enough. I've never been a facilitator. but we just left it to them to decide. And it was a peer-to-peer workshop. There were no teachers at all. And it proved that they could really do it. They were so happy about the result, and they got so good feedback from all the international students that it was so nice to have other students teach them this subject on creativity with no teachers in there. So they really grew from that, and they thought, now we can talk about physiotherapy in English, we can even talk about creativity, problem solving, and so on. Another task was I Wonder Why. Then we were in Porto, and one task was, in the beginning, go out and explore Porto with your tourist glasses. So get acquainted where you are, where you stay. And the next task was, now go and explore Porto with your physiotherapy glasses. So from a physio perspective, what do you see? Go out there individually, in groups, take the train, take the tube, walk, whatever you want to do, and then do pictures, do text, do poems, do whatever, but you have to document what you saw on your blog. And what they saw, some of them saw, no pedestrian places for pedestrians to walk, no bikes on the street, no wheelchairs or walking aids, not many pregnant women, not many runners, no fat people. They thought they would, really see a lot of fat people, but they wondered, no, they didn't see any park bikes anywhere. That was really a stunning. Wow, all the bikes. So yeah, that was some of them. Then we also had a workshop on sharing this Insights personal profile. Do you know what that is? Or do you also use different kinds of profiles? Well, we offered them to do this in the beginning, and then they had that was in the first week, and it's like a 10-page about who am I, and of course they know who they are, but to get more into it's a preference test on working. So they had a feedback from a certified teacher in this field, and then we wanted them to do a workshop where they actually shared their knowledge and they could decide what they wanted to share. Like, what are my forces? How can I contribute to the teamwork? And how can I contribute to the field that we worked in different companies in Porto? And how can I actually, with the one that I am, how can I contribute to the workspace that we're in? And for some of these people, they really had, because they had all these pre-assumptions on, I know who you are, from working together for 2.5 years. But then after they really shared this, they were really, they got many new insights about each other. Then we did another tool, which was they had to go out and analyze their fieldwork company and the owners to the principles of effectuation. So we wanted to link theory and practice. And that was really interesting because that showed us in the blog that they had really understood what effectuation was about. And they found out where could we contribute to this workspace or to these people, how can they develop their business. Or they also realized what the Portuguese physios, what they were really good at. Because these companies, the people there, they were really forced to go out and be entrepreneurs because of the economy in Portugal. Very young physiotherapists, they had to go out and take risks that a Danish student would never dare. So they really saw some of the characteristics of these entrepreneurs, and they could even put it into a theoretical framework. So it was really nice to see how they found out, and this was from a neuro rehabilitation center. And yeah, these two students on the right side, they were working with Hugo. He was a businessman and a physiotherapist. He had lots of different companies, and one was Be Wiser. And Be Wiser was a company doing a lot of courses for healthcare professionals. And he's told these students, now I want you to expand my business, so you need to find a need for a new course, and you can use all my business staff to set up a prototype on a new course, but you have to identify what's needed in Porto. And they didn't have much time because we were only there for 2 weeks, and they worked so hard, and they used all their network in Denmark, and they did a lot of research, and they came up with the idea of a running analysis, you know, when you need to go have new running shoes or you have a injury. And they said, oh, we don't do this in Porto so much, and we do it a lot where we are from, the students are taught. So they got a hold of all their Danish networks, and they actually set up a course, and one of our colleagues might go down and do it. And he was a real businessman, so they really had to focus their knowledge also. So this was some of the tasks that we did, and what I think was the result of it is that they had to do the action part of the progression model was the one that we really focused on. So we didn't talk so much. They had to go do it, and then they had to reflect on the blog. So we saw that they could link theory and practice and theory. So they got a lot of new insights, and I think what was one of the most important and very great things for us as supervisors was to see how all these unarticulated competences just were there. Some of them said, I'm such an introvert person, I never thought I could do an entrepreneurial thing, but maybe actually there is a little entrepreneur within me after all. And so that was really nice to follow these students. So thank you for listening. And,